Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another Cup of Tech. Thanks again to everyone who did comment in last week's show. It was quite a big show, it went for a little bit longer than I usually like to. I'm going to try and keep this one a bit shorter. Let's get straight to it. The first piece of news I wanted to quickly share with you guys was that BlackBerry came out and said that BB10 will be announced on the 30th of January. So the launch will be announced on that day, and then we should find out when it's actually going to start coming to stores and things like that. You know, considering how long it's been since their previous OS release, this one's a long time coming, and I know that die-hard BlackBerry fans are dying for this to come as well. You know, it's exciting, it is exciting because I do think that they're now fighting for the number 3 spot in the smartphone war. I think they're going to be taking on the likes of Nokia and Windows Phone and whatnot, but I'm excited to see what's coming because some of the features I've seen are really, really nice. I just don't want it to drag on much longer. January 30th, I want to know that it's coming like within a week from then or something like that. It has to be soon. So we'll wait and see what happens there. The second piece with BlackBerry as well was they've released in the beta zone. If you've got beta zone access on BlackBerry Upload, check this out because BBM Voice Calling. So if you're connected with someone on BBM, which you can text and things like that, you can actually call them. So instead of just texting, you can do a call, a free call over Wi-Fi. Pretty cool. It's pretty much like Skype, but you know, just for voice. And that's kind of cool because it's BlackBerry to BlackBerry. That's nice to see. I'm also wondering if in BB10 they're going to start opening up BBM to other platforms as well. I think for this to survive, I don't think they can just rely on that anymore when there's the likes of WhatsApp and Skype and everything else. So we'll see what happens there, but that's a really cool move. I think once they have phones with front-facing cameras, I know they should have had them a long time ago, but if the new ones have front-facing cameras, then you can imagine BBM calls with voice and video. So that would be something to see as well. So anyway, January 30th, we should find out all of that. Something else I saw interesting from Nokia. Nokia. They've released their map service. They've also renamed it, called Here. But they've released it now for almost everybody, but in particular iOS. So those who have got iOS 6 on their iPhone 5s or even their 4S and whatnot, you can download Here, which is a turn-by-turn navigation using Nokia Maps, which is known to be very good. Now, if you don't know this, Nokia Maps is actually what is mostly used in cars. So if you buy a car with SatNav, there's a good chance that they source the maps from Nokia. It's huge, it's very, very good. It does come standard on Nokia Windows phones, and that's kind of why I'm mostly intrigued by this, is because they've taken one of the big advantages that's going to be on like the Lumia 920 and the 820, and then they've put it onto the competing devices, which is kind of concerning because if I was going to buy a Nokia, or I did buy a Nokia phone, because of their Nokia Maps and the strength there, you've kind of lost that advantage by giving that same capability to Apple. So interesting move. It's definitely going to please a lot of Apple users. If you're out there and you're tired of Apple Maps running you into creeks, check out Nokia Maps. It could be interesting. Also for Apple users as well, those who use Apple Maps, in Australia turn-by-turn navigation was activated today, so for you guys it would be yesterday. So you can actually start using your iPhone to tell you exactly where to go, hopefully in the right directions, but it's doing it. It is improving, I'm hearing that from people as well. But yeah, turn by turn, so that's finally happened. Last night I went to, or 2 nights ago now, I went to the Galaxy Note 2 launch. Now it was really, really good. Samsung always do amazing events. They just always seem to be bigger than Ben Hur, and the performances are good. They had Ricky Lee performing, and Sam Sparrow was performing as well. So really cool, massive event, huge, huge, huge. And it was interesting that the presentation wasn't just about the Note 2. Now there was quite a large portion about that, but they spoke about the Galaxy camera, their ATIV PC range, so much stuff which they've got coming. All really exciting also. But the big thing obviously was the Note 2. Got my hands on one, had a bit of a play with it. Really impressive. If you've seen my Note 1 review, I actually love the device. So you know, the Note 2 really excites me as well. I can't wait for it to come out. I can't wait to actually get one to review and things like that, because when I had to play with it, they've added some really cool innovation to it. I mean, when you pull that pen out, there's so many things you can do with that pen now. They've really just taken the concept of the wand and just done some magic. It's very cool. The other big one which they showed off and I got my hands on as well was the Galaxy camera. Now the Galaxy camera is your regular sort of point and shoot camera. Has this got batteries? Yes, it does. So imagine a point and shoot camera but with a 4.3-inch screen, which actually runs Android Jelly Bean, I know. And it has, when you look at it from the screen side, it's purely like picking up your Galaxy S3. So it's like this stuck onto that. And when you're using it, you're like, it's got everything. Access to the Play Store. There's nothing you can't really do on it. What it doesn't have, however, is an earpiece and a microphone, so you couldn't actually use it to make calls. But the big advantage is, this is not it obviously, but the big advantage is it's got the huge optical zoom on it. I think it's 20 times or 16 times, something big, large megapixel count, and really impressive. Now, it's got Wi-Fi built into it as well, and 3G, so you could put a SIM card in there and upload your shots straight from the camera as soon as you take them. Now at $5.99 it is a little bit expensive, but you have to remember that you're going to take a picture, possibly put it straight into Instagram on your phone, on your camera, and then take it from there straight to the internet and you're done. Without even pulling this out, without connecting it to your laptop or anything. But then the question became, this camera for example, cost me about 300 bucks. And it takes very good photos. I mean, and look how small it is, very small. Now when I put something like an iFi card in it, which has Wi-Fi in it, I can then take pictures on this and instantly send them to my Galaxy and do whatever I want with it anyway, and then upload it using the already existing data card in here, data SIM. So it kind of begged the question, would you really have an Android camera? Well, there's pros and cons to both. I can definitely see why you would, because instant apps are on there and you can do some really cool stuff in your images straight away. Tough call, $5.99. Maybe bring it down a little bit and make the reason for buying these obsolete, and you'll just have Android on there anyway, because it just is. I want to get my hands on one again. I really want to try it. I'm curious about battery life because two things. One, when you press the power button, you know, it fires the camera back up and whatnot, but the phone was actually in standby because it runs a phone OS. So if you actually turn it off completely, you know how long it takes to power on a smartphone. You could be waiting a minute or 2 minutes, and by then you've lost the shot. So unless you keep it in standby, you're not going to get the instant on. And that could be a huge problem for anyone who's wanting to take photos of their kids and things like that. So that was interesting, but you know, let's wait and see. They're very cool products, we just need to see them in the flesh. The cool thing as well there was they had all their TVs and surround sound, so when you had a look at the cameras and all the phones, you could see how it all integrates together with their tablet, their TV, sending images everywhere, and you could get a good picture of what the Samsung lounge room would look like if you had the money to buy everything. But anyway, very cool. Also today, literally today, this afternoon, I got an email from HTC. They've announced a new phone, a new one for the One range, which makes it maybe 5 or 6 in the One range now. It's the One SV. We've got the One S, we've got the One V, now we've got the One SV. So it's a sort of mid-range phone. It has pretty much the specs of the One S. Has nothing to do with the One V. I don't know what the V is there for, but it's very similar to the One S, similar to the Desire X, but actually not exactly the same as any of those. The biggest sales feature in this one, which separates this one from the rest of the HTC One range, is the fact it's got Optus 4G. So what you have on the inside isn't a great deal more compared to what you're seeing on existing HTC phones, except for the chip that allows it to connect to the Optus 4G network. So it's a nice looking device. Don't get me wrong, it looks good. The specs are decent enough for a mid-range phone, but at the same time, I'm like, really? Another phone? And they're not replacing existing phones. They're not sort of saying, well, the One S is now obsolete, we're giving you the One SV. They're just saying, well, there's another one. And maybe we'll have another phone which has this one little bit extra. I just feel like every time they're bringing a phone out, it's like, it's this plus a little bit more. And that one is that, but without that little bit. And it's like, dude, keep it simple. I think if HTC simplified their range, really simplified their range, they would have a better pitch. It's just too confusing when you walk into a store and you're seeing so many different smartphones and you just think, this is too hard. Where's the manufacturer that makes, you know, one-star phone? And it's Apple. And to avoid the confusion, people just say, well, bugger it, I'll just get an iPhone. And they're done with it. And I think that's where HTC is losing their battle. I think Samsung is doing a better job of now sort of really pushing the S3, and then there's the S3 with 4G. They're kind of keeping that flagship phone as always the flagship phone. And there's a lot of attention focused on the One. They're putting, you know, things in one basket. whereas HTC is just spreading it out so much, and that scares me a little bit. So look, it's on sale. You can order it from now effectively when this thing goes live, and you know, if you like it, check it out. I'll probably get one to review just to do some Optus 4G tests, but that's HTC One SV. Well guys, bone dry, empty cup, little wet mo. You can sort of see it's really evolved now after 3 weeks. In my second week still, it's only the 15th when I'm recording now, so crazy stuff. Anyway, that's the show. Thank you so much for watching. Comment on any of the stories that you've seen. If you have any questions, let me know as well. Thanks again for watching, guys. Here's my fancy remote, which ends this thing now.